Hello and welcome to News at 10 on TV3 and on 3FM 92.7. I am Stephen NT. Let's start with the day's news highlights. Extin Cubic Group Limited, the mining firm linked to businessman Ibrahim Mahama, says the purported withdrawal of its prospecting permit at Nyinahini Bauxite Concession by the Environmental Protection Agency is flawed. Spokesperson Samuel Jemfi insists the company has never mined bauxite in the concession. And the Ghana Immigration Service in the Volta region is cautioning Ghanaians against traveling to Togo on Friday. The Immigration Service said it had picked up intelligence that the opposition in that country is planning a political protest in the capital, Lomé, to herald the burial of some civilians who lost their lives in last Saturday's protest against the president and his family. Security has been beefed up ahead of the upcoming MPP National Delegates Conference in Cape Coast this weekend. Some major roads would also be closed to traffic over the period. President Akufo-Addo has commissioned the first radio telescope in Ghana at Kuntunse in Accra. The radio telescope is expected to provide information on galaxies from space and other information from countries across the world. Those are our major news highlights. Remember, we're streaming live on our Facebook page. You can also hear us on 3FM 92.7. Up next is the big one. Welcome back. Now, private legal practitioner Martin Pebu says he's expecting pension contributors to file a legal suit against past directors of the trust, Social Security and National Insurance Trust, for alleged inflation of the cost of a software procured by the trust. Speaking to TV3, he says the whole deal needs proper investigations beyond what PricewaterhouseCoopers is doing.
It's important that we wait till investigations are done and then we have clarity. However, there clearly is a challenge where you consider the scope creep and the escalated costs that we had to deal with. And it appears quite amazing that we could move from an initial cost of
You have been quoted to have said that the ballooning of the cost of this particular system from $34 million to now $72 million, and it's not being fit for purpose, smacks of a case of causing financial loss to the state. Why do you say this?
Alfred, that is what I stated. Yes, because that is a lot of money, okay, by all standards. $34 million. Okay, even as the initial sum, it's a lot of money, much less increasing it to 72. So to the extent that the equipment, the software and the accompanying equipment were not for purpose, we are headed in the direction of causing financial loss, because it means that either the due diligence was not well done or it was they deliberately procured bad equipment. It will be very good for citizens, okay, all of us, because I'm sure you're a contributor and I'm a contributor as well. So it will be good that we come together, form a coalition or call it an association, and to put pressure on SNAIT so that, I mean, the right thing should be done. Because to the extent, as I stated earlier, that we have these millions of dollars, okay, invested into this equipment that are not working. And Senate has to answer, and especially those officers who were at the helm of affairs when those equipment were pitching.
Right, so that was Martin Pebu in that Skype engagement with the Executive Director of the Citizens Movement Against Corruption, Michael Senano, who himself says the whole deal smacks of corruption.
It's important that we wait till investigations are done and then we have clarity. However, there clearly is a challenge where you consider the scope creep and the escalated costs that we had to deal with. And it appears quite amazing that we could move from an initial cost of about 35 to 72 million just based on scope creep. What it means is that somebody whose job it was to define specifications that will provide the product or the outcomes required did not do their job well. And it just does not make sense that they kept adjusting that scope over and over again and paying for additional things in order to achieve the original objective. Somebody didn't do their work well, and it doesn't make sense that they continue to just pay more and dole out more for the same purpose. Something definitely has gone wrong, and some loss of money to the state has occurred. So somebody should be held culpable for what has transpired. At this stage, what we ought to be doing is, because remember that the challenge we face today started because the initial tender and the specifications put in were wrong. So the question is, how did we have an international tender where the specifications that were required for the product that we were looking for were wrong?
Meanwhile, the immediate past board chairman of the Social Security and National Insurance Trust, SNIT, Professor Joshua Alabi, says he's in support of the investigations currently ongoing to probe the $66 million operational business suite contract. He is, however, not happy with the way the information on the performance of the software was made public. He spoke to AC Biniwa Nyami on Midday Live.
We took over as a board. We're even taking round to inspect progress work. Okay. And we saw that they were working on it. So there was work on it. And I'm told there was even some email before my. So that is clear that we met the work in progress. Now, with your question, I'm 100% in support of investigation. Okay. Because this is state money, the people's money. And there's a need for us to continually do what we call value for money audit. So that when we go out there, we'll be sure that the amount of money that we spend on a project, we are receiving what we expect from that amount of money. Okay. So I'm 100% in support of what they are doing. What I'm not in support of is to already criminalize officers before the report comes out. Okay. That is what I'm in support of. But for the investigation, I support the board, the state. I think they should do that. So that we all wait for the report.
And Exton Cubic Group Limited, the mining firm linked to businessman Ibrahim Mahama, says the purported withdrawal of its prospective permit at its Nyinahini bauxite concession by the Environmental Protection Agency is flawed. Spokesperson Samuel Jemfi insists the company has never mined bauxite in the concession.
We met all the legal requirements, and that is what we have been doing so far. Now, the prospecting license is for a period of 2 years, meaning that once it was granted to us on the 7th of June 2016, it will lapse on the 6th of June 2018. So as we speak to you today, our prospecting license is still pending.
A hurriedly organized news conference as the company sought to clear the air.
We have applied. We applied for that permit on the 30th of March 2017. We are yet to hear from the Environmental Protection Agency on that. We have submitted all the necessary reports and documentations required of us, and we expect that we'll be granted the permit. We are currently not mining. And so all these things about Exton Cubic, made an attempt to go and mine, and that is what has led to all these things, are totally false.
Extant Cubic Group is embroiled in controversy over its prospecting for bauxite at its Nyinayin concession. Equipment of Ibrahim Mahama's engineers and planners, E&P, were impounded in the Nyinayin township on the orders of the Ashanti regional minister. The company insists it is not engaged in any form of illegality. Exton says it has satisfied all legal requirements, but the machinations against the company would affect the town's youth. The company's public relations officer, Samuel Jemfi, indicated the company is considering legal action.
License. We have an environmental permit for the prospecting license. And so entering the tunnel of Fane Forest Reserve is not an illegality. The company is losing over $40,000 a day due to this unlawful act. We are going through the processes, the legal processes with our lawyers, and very soon the appropriate agencies, the authorities concerned, will be written to, and we will make our position clear to them.
This is still News at 10, live on TV3 and on 3FM 92.7. We have more news for you. Please stay. Welcome back. Now, with the heightened fight against illegal mining, popularly called Galamsey, playwright Lateef Abubakar wants to use his theoretical plays to drum home the agenda to end illegal mining and change attitudes. Although there being a ban on artisans and small-scale mining, some people still engage in the act. Saints and Sinners tells you more about the ills of illegal mining in the country, and TV3 is supporting this campaign. Lateef Abubakar is the CEO of Globe Production and is joining us tonight. Good evening, sir. Thank you very much for your time. So you are from the creative arts industry, and I want to find out how dire you think the situation of Galamsey is in the first place for you to even think about using staged drama or playwright to address the issues.
Interestingly, I have visited about 7 different Galamsey sites and doing a research, and upon the visit, I realized that Galamsey is actually, illegal mining is actually affecting our society. And the effect of illegal mining on WASH, it's becoming
alarming.
I'm telling you, especially when you travel, and surprisingly, especially when I found the Galamsey site at the north, I was even surprised because usually I thought it was around the Brona half of the middle belt and the western region, but to go up there to my hometown and also,
then it means Galamsey is everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere.
It's everywhere. And unfortunately, we that are in Accra are not really seeing the negative impact of Galamsey on our society because it's not reached yet. Mostly we don't see the river bodies. We think that, okay, so all is fine with us. But unfortunately, if it doesn't affect us now, if we keep quiet, it will affect our future generation. And we think that we must always use whatever good means we have to help increase the awareness about the effect of illegal mining, especially on WASH, water, sanitation, and health. And that is why we are
how I know that at the base of all of this is change of attitudes. How are you hoping that your play will do the trick?
I see theater to be one of the important tools for communication and then for social change. And then what we do as Globe Productions is try to use theater to promote social change. So you realize that even the first quarter of our play, we did something on health. That's first aid principles to equip people with first aid skills. You understand? So that they could apply it, whether they are at home or even at work. So it's our belief that since we have that platform of bringing together about 3,000 to 4,000 people always in Accra, and then in the nationwide about 20,000 people, let's use that platform not just to entertain them, but also to slip in the importance or the importance of protecting our WASH.
That's right. So you tell us, take some time to tell us what your play Saints and Sinners really want to portray. You need to get us to want to come and watch.
The main objective of this play is to create more awareness, get people involved, engage people to be part of the fight against illegal mining. So let people know that even if you are not directly involved in illegal mining, it's going to affect you one day. And so it's better for us to join forces together to support the media coalition against Galamsey, whoever is fighting against this illegal mining, for us to be able to win that particular fight. This play, actually, like as normal, is entertaining, very exciting. Our plays are very hilarious. You laugh out loud.
Embedded with comedy.
Exactly. But this time around, there's some serious lessons for us to pick up. So unfortunately, I always do comical plays.
Yeah.
This one is going to be comedy, stroke, tragedy.
Yeah. And I need you to give us clues. You know, that's why I keep pushing. But who and who are playing?
Okay, so we have.
How is the play set? By what scenes? Give us some actual characterization of scenes.
This is what is going to happen. We have two sets. We have the village scene, and then the Mr. Blinks, the good man's house. You know, bling blings, shining, everything. Yeah. So there is in brief. There is this farmer, poor farmer, who had a farm, a cocoa farm, and then he was hard-pressed, looking for money, pressure from the wife. He decided to go sell his farm to Mr. Blinks at a very cheap price, with the intention that he's just leasing, not selling completely, he's just leasing the land for 10 years, so that after 10 years, he can get back his land to farm, without knowing that after even 1 year, there's no way you can use the land ever for farming if it's been used for Galamsey. And you know, this is a true story. The research I did in some of the regions I went to, was Akropo and other regions, you realize a lot of the farmers don't know. It's just lack of information. This cocoa farmer I'm talking about, later on, realized that no, after 1 year, the land, the situation, the nature of the land can never be used for farming. So he went back, trying to, now it becomes, I've already bought it. It becomes a tussle between the poor man and then the rich man. The message we are trying to send across is that, unfortunately for a lot of our people, a lot of our farmers, they don't even know that when you use this land for illegal mining, it's very difficult to reverse it back
to farming.
Exactly. And there are so many other scenarios we are playing out.
So
I don't want to give you all.
Who and who, I understand. Who and who are supporting this project?
Okay, so we're doing it in partnership with Water Aid, TV3 and CTFM.
Media partner.
Yeah, and then we have some sponsors on board like Unibank, and then we have Yomi Yogurt, we have Royal Senchi. They're doing so well too as well.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much for joining us. My name is Stephen Enti. Let's move away from there. Government says it is struggling to pay an amount of 892 million cedis owed waste management providers. At a meeting with the media in Accra, the Water Resources and Sanitation Minister Joseph Kofiada expressed optimism. These debts are settled. It will improve waste management in the urban areas.
Ghana is ranked 7th as the country with the lowest sanitation coverage. The streets of Accra and several other regional capitals are overwhelmed by waste. Metropolitan, municipal and district assemblies have struggled continuously to fight indiscriminate waste disposal. Accra alone generates over 2,000 tons of waste daily. This is left uncollected due to what government says is the inability to pay waste management service providers. The president, Nana Akufo-Addo, has pledged to make Accra the cleanest city in Africa by the end of his tenure. But this dream could remain a mirage until government clears a debt of over 892 million cedis. Speaking at the Meet the Press series in Accra, Sanitation and Water Resources Minister Joseph Kofiada said the debt inherited from the previous government is hampering the timely provision of waste management services.
This debt accrued from the provision of various services such as fumigation, compensation for JIDA and sanitation guards, the provision of landfill management services, as well as debts arising out of contracts with the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development and the municipal, metropolitan and district assemblies.
He, however, hinted government is auditing the debt, but 150 million cedis has been released for workers of the Youth Employment Agency under the sanitation module.
Interrogation of the 892 million cedis, I say yes, that's what we're doing. We're trying to make sure these are debts we genuinely owe that we have to pay, but you cannot just let them sit still. I'm talking about the waste service providers. And that's why some payments have been made upfront to them. And we'll be able to address that matter very soon.
Kofi Addo is confident formalizing and integrating the use of motorcycles, popularly known as baller taxi, in the haulage of waste will help improve waste management. He also disclosed the ministry will soon collaborate with the military to close down illegal dumping sites around the capital.
And President Akufo Addo has commissioned the first radio telescope in Ghana at Kuntunse in Accra. The radio telescope is expected to provide information on galaxies from space and other information from countries across the world.
The radio telescope is called the Ghana Radio Astronomical Observatory. Construction of the equipment was spearheaded by the South African government. It is expected to receive and send signals from space and outside the world. It is again expected to support the training of scientists from 9 African countries, including Zambia and Mozambique. Since its construction, some Ghanaians have also been trained as welders who can apply the training to work at the oil and gas sector. Minister of Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation, Professor Frimpong Boateng, was emphatic the radio telescope would be put to good use. President Akufo Addo underscored the relevance of setting up other national satellite science centers to complement the radio telescope.
I anticipate the establishment shortly of a Presidential Advisory Council on Science, Technology and Innovation, PACSTI, a body comprising distinguished scientists, engineers, industrialists, educationists, and science and technology communicators, amongst others, that will provide advice to the President on issues relating to science, technology, and innovation.
He repeated his decision to increase funding of science from 0.25% to 2.5% of GDP.
Government will make efforts to increase collaboration amongst research institutions, industry, especially the private sector, and political authorities at all levels. These measures, I hope, will make the transition from research to product development and industrial production much easier and faster.
Meanwhile, the President has directed the Ministries of Education, Environment, Science, Technology and Innovation to develop potent science and mathematics model for all students in the various levels of education.
Akufo Addo has directed the Minister of Education to immediately help rehabilitate the EP College of Education at Amezope and EP Vocational Technical School at Alavanyo. The President gave the directive at the 8th General Assembly of the Evangelical Presbyterian Church of Ghana in Accra.
The President was responding to a request made by the moderator of the Evangelical Presbyterian Church of Ghana, Right Reverend Dr. Seth Senyo Agidi. The 2 schools established in 1946 have not received any facelift. Most of its roofs have ripped off, affecting academic work. The moderator, Dr. Seth Senyo Agidi, pleaded with the President to intervene.
Come to the aid of these 2 institutions that are providing critical services to their immediate communities and beyond. Thank you in advance for accepting to support this group.
President Akufo Addo directed the Minister of Education to act promptly.
I promise I shall alert the Minister of Education and urge him to put Amejofe and Alavanyo on his to-do list.
In another development, the moderator again implored the President to restore the economy and provide more jobs for the teeming unemployed youth.
A Ghana in which the citizens are proudly contributing to a new and independent nation of freedom and justice, and in which the economy is doing well, that the people are not seeking for greener pastures elsewhere.
The President assured to revive the economy, but pleaded with the leadership of the EP Church to assist in inculcating ethical values into childhood development.
We can all certainly harvest rainwater, build toilets in our homes, cultivate school farms, and keep our surroundings clean and be on time. I ask you to capture the spirit you were known for and let us build the self-confident and prosperous Ghana that we all desire.
And that's how we draw the curtain for News at 10. I'm Stephen NT. Thank you very much for being with us. On behalf of the crew here, good night. There is more news at 3news.com.